Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Transportation Committee meeting of August the 14th. Everyone here is present. We will allow our council person, Kent Shakespeare, over here will say the invocation, and then he will lead us in the prayer. The pledge, I'm sorry.
Dear Lord, I want to thank you for all the benefits that you've given the fine citizens of Ascension Parish. Thank you for a fine opening to the school year, the new school year, and the fine school system that we have. Thank you for all the other benefits you have given us and the opportunity to move forward in this parish with issues that we have in front of us today. We'd like to ask you to allow us to make good decisions on all of these issues so that we do the best things for the people of the parish, and that you allow us to all go home safely tonight to our families. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, our DPW Director Bob Turner has a few items that he would like to include on this agenda. He did send them earlier this evening. My email system is down. So I'm going to leave the call up to you. If you want to put it as a 2/3, then you can vote on it. Make the motion to do so. He's going to...
There are two items that I would like to bring before the committee this evening. The first item is an item that was dealt with and heard by the East Ascension Drainage Board, and it relates to the concrete pavement of the Marty Barat ditch. This is a channel that is parallel to 932, just immediately south of 933, and the East Ascension Drainage Board made a motion that they would recommend that half of the cost of $90,000 be paid for by either Public Works or the state, DOTD. And I'd like to bring that before you for your consideration.
Move to put it as a 2/3 item.
I have a motion and a second to add this to the agenda. We will take it up under 8E.
8E. The other item that I would like to bring before you is a item related to Parker Road, the improvement of Parker Road in the past. When we did that road, we took out at least 2 neighborhood signs that indicated what the neighborhoods were. Those were not replaced under the Parker Road project. Councilman Doug Hillenbeck is here to give more details about that, but I'd like to add that to the agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Todd Lambert and a second by Kent Shakespeare to add the Parker Road neighborhood signs to the agenda. We will take that up. I guess we'll change adjourn to, we'll take that up under 9 and move adjourn to 10.
I have one other change I would like to recommend to you, and that is item 8F, the intersection, the 2004 intersection improvements. Mr. Kent Israel of URS is going to address that, and if possible, I'd like to move that to item 6B.
So moved. What is it?
It's a 2004 intersection.
6B, 2004 intersection. Guys, I wasn't looking that we had more items, so the concrete will have to be G under 8 instead of E. There is another E.
H.I.
H.I., that's right, correct, I. So that will be item 8I, will be the concrete pavement of Marty Burat. And we're going to take F off and move it to 6B.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Excuse me, man. We were talking about 2/3. The Parker Road signs, is that just neighborhood signs, Bob, that are coming back?
I'm sorry.
The Parker Road signs, is that neighborhood signs that you wish to be put up?
It's an item that I want to have discussed before the Transportation Committee. Mr. Councilman Doug Hillenbeck, it's an issue that he's been aware of for a number of years, and I think as a result of concern by some of the neighborhoods that their signs were removed and not replaced, they would like to see them replaced.
We can't just put signs up?
Well, they're neighborhood signs. They're not.
Oh, okay.
They're not just signs. They're rather elaborate signs.
Okay, we'll take that up under 9, and then 10 will be adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no presentations. The first item up is item 6A, under update of parish and state projects, Kent Israel with URS. We welcome you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. First, start with a couple of items on the state highway system. There was a notice that I received that Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development did receive bids and accept bids for work on LA 74 from the Iberville Parish line to US 61. Barrier Construction Company submitted the low bid of $2.485 million. This was July 25th, 2007 letting. So I would assume in about 60 days, the state should start working on that highway for an overlay job.
What is this?
I just pulled this off the computer this afternoon at the office.
We don't have any paperwork.
No, you don't have any paperwork. This is just for your information.
And which highway is that, Peter?
74.
Okay.
From the Iberville Parish line to 261.
Great. How much needed?
$2.485 million.
When are they going to construction?
Well, they took bids and accepted bids. The bid was July 25th. Normally 60 to 90 days after that, they should start construction.
And what they're doing there is just
It's an overlay.
Just an overlay. That's very good information. Thank you.
On the DOTD website this afternoon was an item that Department of Transportation has changed the hours of work on the I-10 restriping project that's starting. Originally, they were going to work from 6 in the morning till 5 in the evening. They've changed hours now to work only from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hopefully after the peak hours, both the morning peak hours and the evening peak hours are gone, they'll be working out there. And there's 2 projects on DOTD's letting list for Ascension Parish between now and the end of the year. One is the LA 621, LA 73 at I-10 interchange, and the other one is a overlay project on Airline Highway between 427, which is Perkins Road, the old Perkins Road, and Picu Lane. So this project would cover both Ascension and East Baton Rouge Parish, but they'll be working on Airline similar to what they just finished on Airline.
And you don't know when this will start?
They're scheduled to take bids in December, so I would guess it would be early spring before they actually start work. But this was a project that was moved up on the letting list because of the extra funds the Highway Department received in the legislature.
That's very good news.
Okay. I gave each of y'all a copy of a project status report for the projects that are underway in Ascension Parish at this time, and giving you some of the highlights of where we are on the projects. Boudreaux Road Phase 2, there's the administration and the City of Gonzales are negotiating on the allocation for funding for a city water line. That's the last item that needs to be taken care of before we can take bids on that project. We have reviewed the plans, and I believe they're ready for construction. Westworthy Road, the right-of-way maps have been given to Ascension Parish DPW on August 13th, 2007, and Ascension DPW is going to be requesting authorization to fund the right-of-way acquisition, the hiring a professional to do the right-of-way acquisition later on in the evening. And my final review of the construction plan should be done by August 24th. So that job, as soon as the right-of-way is acquired, that job should be ready to go to contract. Joseph Ariel Road, Ascension DPW is negotiating on the last property owner. The construction plans, I have reviewed them, given my comments to GSA. GSA has given me back answers to my comments. I will check those, and that set of plans should be ready to go to work. Roddy Road bridges, the drainage structures, pipes have been approved by the Ascension Parish Council. We're waiting on GSA to furnish preliminary plans and the right-of-way taking line so we can go forward with doing right-of-way maps if right-of-way is necessary. And I guess the intersection improvements.
What? Excuse me. Could we ask a question now?
Yes, you may.
What is the timeline on that?
Hopefully, I'll get the preliminary plans in the next 2 weeks, so I can review them, make comments. We'll go to the field, make sure there's no construction problems, and then we'll start the right-of-way map preparations. So there should not be but 5 or 6 parcels of real estate, if any. So you may have some in the Four Corners.
This is the two bridges, the Bird Allen Bridge and the...
Yes. And you don't foresee any problems with right-of-way or anything like that?
I don't, at this time,
Okay.
no. I do not, Mr. Sexton, I
really
do not
don't know
see any
yet.
problems.
Well, one of the reasons why I wanted this discussed tonight and why I had asked that it be put on the agenda tonight is that this particular bridge, or these two particular bridges, were very important to one of the councilmen, and we've worked hard on trying to find out where we were. We wanted these bridges to be under bid before June and construction started, and we haven't gotten there. So what I'm trying to find out is some timelines. You know, I mean, here we are at the end of August when we wanted the bridges finished, and I just want to know. I guess I'm wanting some dates. We need some.
I will get you
some information.
I will be in touch with GSA and give you some dates.
Glenn, can you come up and give us some answers?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I gave this to Kent. I was supposed to get it to him this morning. I couldn't get it to him until late this afternoon. But the plans for those two bridges are going to be delivered to the parish on or before this coming Friday. That was reported in one of our earlier reports, either the June or the July reporting update to the council, or to the Transportation Committee. I'm sorry. We do expect that there will probably be 4 parcels of property, one on each, as Kent has outlined to you, one on each quadrant or corner of that bridge structure. And the box culvert structure. We're not going to be installing bridges. We're going to be installing box culverts in both of those locations. Once the plans are reviewed on both ends of each of the bridges, like I said, of the box culverts, there'll be some right-of-way acquisition. At that point, once Kent and them review the plans, hopefully that can proceed to the right-of-way acquisition phase. And as soon as that is complete, then construction can be let for bidding. It's difficult, Madam Chairman, to give you a date on the actual beginning of construction. It just depends on the right-of-way acquisition phase. Some of them go very quickly. In this case, which we expected to go very rapidly, but in some cases they don't because of various other issues. So if everything goes well, we would expect that those box culverts would be under construction by the end of this year with completion early part of spring.
I guess where I'm going here is if we knew we needed right away,
right,
and we're planning to get construction started June '07 and finished by August '07, I guess I'm asking, why don't we have that? I mean,
well, you can't identify the actual right-of-way taking until you prepare plans, and that's where we are at this point in time. Plans were previously prepared for those two bridge locations back some time ago. As a result of the hydraulic analysis that was done, we felt like there was, the box culvert alternative was a more cost-effective alternative for Ascension Parish. We came back to you. You authorized us to look at that alternative in April of this year. I think it was April of this year. Actually, February of this year. We reported back to you in June of the alternatives for your consideration. At that time, the Transportation Committee authorized the construction of box culverts in lieu of the original bridges.
so we still don't have any timeline. I mean,
we will have plans to you on August 17th, which is Friday. As I said, as we previously reported to you in June and probably in July as well.
And then once we get the plans, then we have to get right away.
That's correct.
So what steps are taken? What steps are we going to take? Do we need to take steps tonight to get that right away?
What will happen is, as best I can appreciate, is that the parish will assign a right-of-way acquisition team to go out, prepare right-of-way maps, actually engage in the right-of-way negotiations and acquisition of those parcels of property.
Madam Chairman, may I interject something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Bob.
As soon as we get the plans, it's my intent to immediately ask for a proposal by one of the abstractors on our approved list and to proceed to assign the right-of-way so that we can move forward on this project. We'll do that starting next week if we get the plans Friday.
That sounds good. Thank you. Any questions from anybody? No questions? Thank you. Mr. Israel.
Before Mr. Israel goes to the intersection program, I'd like to add just a couple of things to his report. First of all, Boutro Road, the issues have been resolved as of today on that. That project is going to be advertised for bid this week. We're going to construction very quickly on that road. Also, Joe Severio is being advertised this week, and we're going to go to construction on it very shortly. So those two roads are going to be under construction fairly soon.
That sounds real good, Mr. Bob. We appreciate that. Mr. Israel.
Okay, on the 2004 Intersection Improvement Program, Phase 2B, which is Ascension 929 at Airline, Black Bayou Extension at 44, and 621 at US 61. Plan plans were submitted to DPW back in 2003. At that time, as part of the original package for the intersection improvements, because of utility and right-of-way problems, those 3 intersections were pulled out, and GSA has been approved by the parish to undertake traffic impact analysis as required by the Department of Transportation, and those have been furnished to the department for their review. GSA did meet with the department this week, and the department has some comments, especially on the intersection of 621 and Airline, that they want to see put into this project. So there will be working with the department to get their final approval, because you need a permit from the department to do the work at this intersection. Phase 2C, which is Duplessis Road at Airline and Causey Merritt Evans at 44. Again, this was part of the original package. Again, the traffic analysis have been done, given to the state, and the state is reviewing those traffic analyses. So there will be, as soon as we get a traffic analysis approval and layouts approved by the state, we can look at exactly what right-of-way taking will be needed once we lay the intersection out, whether they left turn lanes, right turn lanes, or exactly what the state's going to require as part of this project.
Yes, Mr. Shaheen, you are welcome to come to the podium.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And once again, I want to apologize to Kent. I was supposed to have given this to him earlier today, and I didn't get it to him until late this afternoon. What we would like to do on the intersection project, the state, those 5 intersections, the state has approved the proposed improvements along with the traffic impact analysis that were prepared. And those intersections were Ascension 929 at US 61, Black Bayou at Black Bayou Extension, and that's in Phase 2B. And then in Phase 2C, they have approved the Causey Merritt Evans improvements. The other 2 intersections, LA 621 at US 61 and Duplessis at 61, based on the traffic analysis, the proposed improvements do not provide an enhancement of a level of service that's desirable by LDOTD. What they would like there, they want to reevaluate what we're proposing along with the traffic analysis. They may want to recommend an alternative to what's being currently proposed there. And basically what we're proposing there at 621 is a right turn lane, a westbound right turn lane, meaning that when you're coming from 44, going west, a right turn lane. That does not provide enough improvement in the level of service. They are probably going to recommend instead of a right turn lane, a right through lane with a dedicated left turn lane. That's probably going to be a recommendation of LDOTD. On Duplessis, what was originally proposed there some years ago was an eastbound right turn lane at Duplessis. Once again, based on the traffic analysis, they feel like a right turn lane, westbound right turn lane, would be more appropriate there, which would improve the level of service substantially at that intersection. So what we're recommending in summarizing what we've got, that those 2 intersections, until DOTD further evaluates those 2 intersections and offers their recommendation, we cannot get a project permit to move forward with those 2 intersections. What we would like to recommend to the Transportation Committee is that you take the Causey Merritt Evans intersection in Phase 2B, along with, Phase 2C, along with Ascension 929 at US 61 and the 2 Black Bayou and Black Bayou Extension, and you allow those to move to the right-of-way acquisition phase. Move those three intersections forward while we're waiting on DOTD to approve the improvements on the other two.
Is there anything we need to do to?
Madam,
No, just
I'm just bringing. We just want to bring you up to date there.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
clearly each one of these intersections is a separate item by itself. One, in effect, does not affect the other one. So if we can move one or more of these forward individually, I feel very confident that we should go ahead and do that and put them under contract as quickly as we can.
Then, guys, I think we should make a motion to maybe put the three
I move
together
that-
and the other two together.
I would like to make a motion that we would separate them, and you can do phases, and you can put A and B on those phases, however DPW would like, so that they come out to be individual projects. We can leave them in for the sake of discussion, and everybody knows them as Phase 2B. They could be 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C, however you deem necessary to separate them and use them as individual projects and move forward as they come available. So I'll make that in the form of a motion so that we will have them designated as individual projects.
Any questions? Any objections? Cinnamon, you want to try to read the motion back, Mr. Bob, so that it's clear for you?
To separate Phase 2C, because of road at Highway 61 and Paul Reed and Merritt Evans and Oak
And move forward with the right-of-way acquisition on those, yes.
As soon as possible.
Question? Mr. Savoy.
I'm very comfortable with Mr. Bob that we just give him authorization to move forward on these 5 and as expeditiously as possible according to his expertise. Because now we're moving forward for land acquisition. But what's next? Is there something else where he's going to have to wait and come back to us again that we don't know? I got trust in Mr. Bob. We want the intersection improvements done, moving as quickly as possible. Me, I say give him authorization to move and get it done. He don't need to come back to us.
I thought that's what we did.
That's not the way I understood it, because we authorized him to go for acquisition of some property. But there's some other issues that could come up that he may think or feel like he needs authorization from us.
And maybe that was as it came out. My understanding is that we were separating these phases. These were different phases with 2 different projects. For example, Phase 2C is Duplessis Road and Casey Merritt Evans, and they were lumped together, and therefore you couldn't go forward until you reached a certain point with both of them. And my sole motion was to separate them into individual ones and move forward as quickly as possible by separating them and giving them the leeway to move forward as they deem, not with any limits whatsoever. So I do agree with you, Mr. Savoy. That was the intent of the motion.
Okay, that's fine.
Do we need to clarify anything else?
I think I clearly understand the direction of the committee.
Right. We're all in agreement that we want to get these things done, whatever it takes, Mr. Bob, to move them forward and to get them completed, and whatever assistance we can give from this end, we appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
The only other comment I have is I have reviewed the plans for the 2006 roadway program and given my comments back to DPW for incorporation into their final plans. And the council has already approved going forward with that project to bidding as soon as possible.
I might add that the only item that we have remaining in order to do that project is the approval of the contract form by the legal staff. As soon as they give us that, which I expect very shortly, we plan to advertise that project for bids.
Good.
Okay. I had a question. Did we address Roddy at Airline?
No. Roddy at Airline was, y'all have approved the project, and Mr. Shaheen's working on it. and he's done the traffic analysis and presented it to the state and with the general layout, and should be getting comments back from the state on that one also. And we can go forward. As soon as we get the comments back from the state, we can go forward with that one.
Okay. The 2005 roadway reconstruction.
The contractor is finished with the projects, with the roads that were in the original list. Their BKI has submitted, I believe, drawings to DPW for North Summerfield or Summerfield North extension. We will be working with the contractor to do that work, and then there will be the punch item list that will have to be done by the contractor.
There is one other item I'd like to add on that.
Yes.
If you recall, in the 2005, we had replaced woodland with a driveway so that we could get over the pipelines. We're still working to get a permit over the pipeline. We'd worked for some period of time with one of the pipeline companies, only to find out at the very last minute that it wasn't their pipeline. We were working, trying to get a permit from the wrong company. So we've switched our horses, and I feel very good about being able to move forward with a permit to do that. So Summerfield North and Woodland will go together at the same time fairly quickly.
I do have a question. Not my constituent, but somebody asked me. She said, "I'm tired of waiting on Lazy Oaks." I know that Lazy Oaks was in the 2005 project. Is that one done? Or was it done, or was it pulled out?
That's a 2006 project.
It's 2006.
Yes, ma'am.
It was on the original list for 2005, I believe.
Yeah, there were
so
some.
it's been moved to
2006.
There were some 2005 projects that got put on the list, and when we started making up the 2006, it became part of that project.
Okay. Because I knew that it was on the 2005 list, and I knew that we were nearing completion, so I was kind of wondering about it. So I can tell her that it is on the 2006, and it's fixing to go to bid.
Absolutely. Tell her it's very close to going to bids.
Good enough. Yes, Henry.
Chairwoman Fontenot, the Lazy Oaks was never on the 2005 when it came out of DPW. It had been on the list prior to the actual implementation of the road program, but when it was put out to BKI for design, Lazy Oaks was not one of them. We only had 27 roadways. That was put out.
I know my copy had it on there.
I understand. Unfortunately, the copy I got the design from didn't. And then the issue on Woodlawn was the surveyor. I can't remember which surveyor did the survey. Labeled the lines backwards. They basically showed at the time it was Equilon, which is now Shell, as being on the west right-of-way of that 90-foot servitude, and the Marathon Ashland on the east side of the servitude. So we've been working with Marathon Ashland to expedite that crossing, and when we were about ready to get the permit issued last week, they went back out in the field and said, we've got a slight issue because we're actually on the west side. So both Marathon Ashland and myself were working on the pretense that line. They'd looked at the drawings, we'd looked at drawings, and everybody was okay with it. Haven't gotten an answer back from the surveyor as to why they were mislabeled. But we're working with Shell now to try and get that line as a driveway as opposed to an old roadway that we'd shown initially, but done as a driveway to allow that permit to go through.
And these are the only things that are holding up completing 2005 project.
All the other roadways are complete.
There are some minor what I call punch list items.
But,
yes,
we
ma'am.
will be complete within a month or so.
We are pushing the contractor to complete those up as soon as possible.
By the end of the year?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Please let's not stretch it out that long.
Summerfield's going to be by the end of the month, he said.
I'd be more than happy to have any input from you guys to the contractor to help finish it up. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kent, the last one, I guess, is the 2007 program.
Well,
Just
2007,
a matter of a little comment on that one.
really, y'all have selected the consultants to do the work, and we're going to, Mr. Turner and I are going to start working with the consultant to do the design work.
I might point out that Frank Frederick, previous Director of Public Works, is assigned to the overall project to make sure they go smoothly. We're talking to all three of the consultants. We're visiting with the council members in their districts to make sure that we're seeing the road projects exactly as we're presenting them to the contractors. They're giving us feedback. So we're taking some time at the outset here, but we're going to get the groundwork laid for a good, smooth project in all three of the contractors. And so I think this is time well spent. Frank is just an excellent individual to coordinate this, so I'm real pleased of how this is going so far.
I just wanted to say I appreciate you, Mr. Bob. I did get 3 letters that you sent to all 3 contractors that we awarded projects to, and you got it off in the first week, and we just want to thank you for all you're doing to move the roads in Ascension Parish forward.
Well, I'd like to
On that, right?
thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But in truth, my staff, like Jackie here, is one of the real key reasons that we're able to move some of those things forward. And the communications that we're having between Kent and myself, I think, is a great assistance on resolving issues before they become stalemate items. We can resolve those and go forward. And I'm real pleased with our progress at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Israel, for bringing us a report. Okay, let's see. The next items up are speed reductions.
The first item is item A, Duplessis Road, and this is one that was is brought forward by the Public Works Department. It's actually a citizen called me and extremely concerned about Duplessis Road from US 61 over to 73. When I drove that road, the speed limit was 35 miles an hour on that road, and when you drive it, you go across the railroad track that you absolutely cannot cross more than 10 miles an hour, and you go through 4 very sharp curves before you get to 73. One of those is a 10-mile-an-hour curve, which you really need to be 10 miles an hour. So essentially what I determined was that there is really no place on that road people ought to be driving 35 miles an hour. You just cannot safely drive that at that speed, and so I'm recommended that it be reduced to 25.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second.
I have a motion by Todd Lambert and a second by Kent Shexnada to reduce the speed on Duplessis Road from 35 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour. Any objections? There are no objections. We can send this to the full council. I do want to thank you because this one is in my district, and it does have some shoulder drop off, so it makes it even more dangerous.
That's one of the reasons that we ought to lower the speed limit. There's just no recovery opportunities if you make a mistake. It's a narrow road, sharp curves, and fairly deep ditches. So if you make a mistake, you're in a ditch, and you could be seriously injured.
Yes, sir. They steep, deep ditches.
Yes.
I appreciate that, Mr. Bob. The next one is Lake Meadow Court.
Lake Meadow Court is one that's proposed by Councilman Todd Lambert, reduction of 25 to 15. He may want to speak to that.
I do have a petition from all the residents down the road, that's required, so.
Okay, I have a motion by Ken Shakespeare and a second by Dempsey Lambert to approve the speed limit reduction from 25 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour on Lake Meadows Court. Are there any objections? No objections. It can be sent to the full council. Number C, Fontana Road, Donaldsonville, Head Start program.
Yeah, this one was brought forward by Councilman Oliver Joseph regarding the Head Start program area, and he is recommending a 25 or a 15 mile an hour speed limit within that area, and we would support that.
I have a motion by Dempsey Lambert and a second by Jerry Savoy to reduce the Fontana Road from 25 miles an hour to 15 miles per hour. Any objections? No objections. Can move to the full council. Number D, Glenn Williams
Item
Road.
D is Glenn Williams Road. We'd had a number of complaints from citizens regarding this. It's a relatively short dead-end road, and it's got one very sharp corner in it, and clearly it's not a road that you should be driving any speed at all. And with the cooperation of Councilman Dempsey Lambert, we're recommending a reduction in the speed on that road to 15.
So move, Mr.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert and a second by Councilman Todd Lambert to reduce the speed on Glenn Williams Road from 25 miles an hour to 15 miles per hour. Any objections? No objections. It can move to the full council. Item number 8.
Item 8A is the Road Department, the July report. I think you have in your packet a two-page summary of the completed projects that we have done for July. I'd be glad to go through those if you would like, or if you have any specific questions. On our weed control, we are currently mowing, have just completed mowing Airline, so we're still in the midst of making our cycle on the state roads. I'm sorry to have to tell you, we did have an accident on Bluff Road. One vehicle ran into the back of one of our tractor drivers, and fortunately he was not seriously injured, nor was the driver that ran into the back of him. But it kind of points out the danger that we have and on this, and it's not an easy task, but very, very fortunate that nobody was seriously injured there. But we're still completing the first round on state routes.
Councilman Shakespeare has a question. Mr. Bob.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Bob, on 941, that's not our jurisdiction. That's the state highway, Brittany Tower Road. There's been some tremendous growth in the grass along that road. Could you please forward to the state DODT to try to get that cut, because it's really grown up a great deal, and it's become a danger for people getting out of driveways and things.
I will.
I appreciate it.
I will.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Dempsey Lambert has a question or comment.
Yeah, Bob, on the on Bluff Road on the accident, I know we have our signage out, and we have the emergency vehicles out in front and back. What is the do we have anything as far as the a higher ticket fine for these speeders, or was it a speeding caused it, or what happened with it?
Essentially, the area that it occurred was a relatively narrow area. It was marked as a no passing zone. And when we're mowing, we kind of have a train of tractors and a vehicle in the back that protects them. In this particular case, a driver came in and I think was attempting to pass the slow-moving vehicles and met another vehicle. So either had a choice of hitting the vehicle that he was meeting head-on or hit our lead tractor. And so he hit the lead tractor.
I think we need to take this opportunity. We need, people need to slow down. The weeds were real high, and we're trying to make the roadway safe. But we need to get someone to really get some, to slow the traffic down.
Yeah, if people will be patient, and I certainly understand the difficulty of coming behind several slow-moving vehicles such as tractors. But if they will be patient with us, we will get through there as quickly as we can, and they will have opportunities to pass us at other areas. But in areas where there's marked no passing and the road is narrow, we just don't have a choice but to go through there slowly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else have any questions? I do have one, Mr. Bob. while we're talking about weeds, I guess I'll bring it up. On Coontrap Road, where 74 meets Coontrap, there's a triangle there, and there's some, triangle of ground there. The grass is really high there. My daughter-in-law almost got hit today, bringing the kids to school. There's an additional problem that I've asked in the past about, and we would have to get with DOTD, I'm sure, to find out about it. But the traffic comes and goes from 74, and you cross over from KC Road, you cross over and you come to a stop to let the other ones come that have the right-of-way. Only problem is when you look over your left shoulder, don't matter what vehicle you're in, the back rear keeps you from seeing what's coming. And so with the grass there, you can't see, but then you can't see otherwise. So I would like to see us get that little area cut as soon as possible, because it's a double visionary problem there. But also I would like to see if you could see there's something needs to be done with the signs there, either I don't know, it's kind of like Triangle D, if any of you remember years ago Triangle D and the problems that we had there, and it's sort of that same sort of problem, and it's very dangerous. I know myself that when I go that route, I cannot see what's coming. You can't. If you're not paying attention to what's coming down 74 as you cross over, you have no idea that there's a car coming.
Okay. I will look at that tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay. Item number B, I think Mr. Israel took care of that, unless do you have some other information
Well,
on
what
it?
I want to do is give you an update. The project that we have on 73, 621, and I-10 has been going on for quite some time. And originally, plans were submitted to the state for approval back in January, and they were rejected, and because they needed more information. Then they were again submitted in June, and they had additional comments, and we had a meeting last week or a week or so ago with the state and the consultants to talk about some of the problems that we were seeing and how soon we could get those corrected. Part of the problem, while in my mind clearly the consultant needed to work closer with the state to achieve the level of detail that the state needed on the plans. There'd been a change in the state project officers, I think, that added somewhat to the confusion. But the net result was that the plans would be resubmitted in the state by the end of August, and if that's the case, then we're going to end up having a February of 08 letting on that project, and that's quite a bit later than we originally planned and desired. But I can assure you I'm staying on top of that and trying to move that forward, along with a number. Representative Eddie Lambeth and a number of others are very interested in that program. So we're meeting with the state as necessary to keep that going.
I guess, Mr. Bob, this is in my area too, mine and George's, and it's a nightmare, especially now the school started, so it seems like it keeps getting pushed further back.
Yes, ma'am.
But I guess I'd have to ask the question is, why did it take so long if it was rejected and then it took, in January it was rejected and sent back, and then it didn't get back to the state till June. I mean, it seems like the timeline.
It's a concern to me. I can't really speak directly to the issue other than the fact that the state has very precise standards that the consultant didn't present, and when they did, the state took some time to look at the project, look at the plans, and then made a fairly long punch list and gave it back. But I guess we're getting closer to that. I will point out and absolutely support your statement that that's a nightmare in the area. We did receive some recent traffic counts. I just have some preliminary tonight, but I hope to give some additional detail to the council on Thursday. But 73, as an example, the increase in traffic from 2004, which is the last official count that the state had made, to just in July, increased 89%. The traffic on it. On LA 74, in the vicinity of 621, we've got 32,000 cars a day trying to negotiate that. And so that's, and that was before school started.
And I know, and I guess, you know, we hate to whine, but if y'all remember when we first took office in 2004, 621 and 73 was a priority. You know, and it's not even going to get done in our time. And I know it's a state project, but at the same time, when you've got these kind of conditions, you know, in a rural area like that, I'm just hoping that come February we can really let this project out. I look forward to that.
I do too. I have passed the information regarding the traffic on to the state so that they're aware of the volume of traffic at that location and the concern that we have.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The next item, these are proposals that we're bringing to you for the in-house 2007 program. While we're working very close with our three contractors for their portion of the 2007 road program, Jackie is working very hard on getting the in-house projects out and moving. And so this is part of our process in giving our portion of the project forward. And so we would like to have your approval for a proposal from PSI for geotechnical services for the 2007 in-house projects. Those are the projects that we're going to do in-house. It's not all of them, but your information shows you the breakdown of the projects and the value. The total value of all the work that we've got proposed for PSI is $8,710. PSI, by the way, is one of the geotechnical firms on our list.
Okay. I have a motion by Todd Lambert to accept PSI at a cost of $8,710, and a motion and a second to that motion by Kent Shakespeare. Are there any objections or any questions? No objections, no questions. The motion passed. Can be sent to the full council for ratification.
Again, the next item is a little larger. It's basically the surveying needs on in-house projects, 2007 in-house projects. We've got a number of projects that have to have significant surveying done in order for us to design the project properly and to make sure that we get all the information that we need in the field. Again, we have selected SJB to do the surveying, a firm that's on our list, and the total amount of the proposal is $159,787. We'd recommend approval.
I have a motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert to approve this contract to go to SJB Group in the amount of $159,787.
Second.
I have a second by Todd Lambert. Are there any objections? Any questions? There are no objections. We will move this to the full council.
The next item is 8E, in which it is a approval of a task order for right-of-way on Westworthy. To kind of back up a little bit and talk about West Worthy. It's a project that's been around for some time. When I got here, I wasn't sure where we were at, what we'd purchased and what we'd not purchased. So I'd asked SJB to do a audit on the right-of-way to determine what properties were remaining to be acquired, what properties had been acquired, and to get a better feel for where that is. They're in the process of doing that, and we'll report back at the end of the month as to the status of that. In the meantime, there was a reduction in the right-of-way that was made on the West Worthy project in order to minimize the taking of some of the houses. As you might know, the houses on West Worthy are relatively close to the road, so we were minimizing the right-of-way in order to not have to take some of the houses and to have due proximity damage to them. GSA was tasked with making the reduction in the plans, the right-of-way on the plans, and also to prepare the right-of-way documents for those. And initially we thought there were 9 properties. It turned out that there were 13 when they got that. And so they were just delivered to us last week, late last week, and so we need to move forward with the proposal task order to get appraisers and negotiators and move those projects forward. And I would ask that you do that.
So moved.
But before we do that, we do have someone that asked to speak on the item. So before we accept a motion, Mr. Philip Garrett, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Chairman and committee members. What I had spoken of when y'all first did last month added additional contractors, I was assured that we would be able to continue with the parcels and the projects that we were already doing. And I also have a memo initialed and back from September from Mr. Bill Rue, where he reiterated that and indicated that we would be given the new plans as soon as they came in. What we've got is we have almost completed the acquisition, and the only thing that we were waiting for was we had done all of the fast track, even some of them that weren't qualified for fast track we did, and we were waiting for appraisals and surveys and accurate title information to finish the others. Some of them had title problems and some of them were close. With the reduction in the right-of-way, we have some relocations we don't have to do, but we have some of these that are still outstanding have been signed, but they were held up by legal and by mistake, and back when Harold Marchand was president. And so we've got signed documents with about 20 people on one property that I guess will have to be redone, and others we can complete in a very short period of time. If you assign someone else, since we've already been paid to do the work, you'll be paying much more, where our fee was $1,050 and per parcel, and these proposals were $1,500, and you've already paid me and the ones that on the portions that I haven't been paid, you would have to according to the contract. So when this came up, I was assured by various, the council members that these new task orders would not be doing the work that we've already gotten into. And so, I don't mind, them doing we'd really need someone to do the appraisals and surveys as quickly as possible, and I need to get them as they flow in so I can go back to these people that we've been dealing with and wrap this up. And I think we can do it in a very short order after we get our appraisals and so forth.
Thank you. Mr. Bob?
I said on a couple of occasions that the Public Works Department does not have a task order contract with Pelican Land Services. I still stand by that, but even if we did, the reduction in right-of-way, the change in the plans is that we're back to square one on these 13 tracks. And so that's what I'm asking your approval to go forward on.
Made a motion to move forward to the next step by DPW.
I have a motion to move forward on West Worthy Road for the next step by Councilman Kent.
Approval of task order for right-of-way.
Approval of a task order for right-of-way and appraisers.
Yes, it's appraisal and right-of-way services.
Appraisal and right-of-way services.
I second.
And I have a second from Councilman Todd Lambert. Any objections? There are no objections. This can move to the full council. Thank you.
The next item is subdivision roads that have been inspected and approved by our inspectors, and we recommend that they be accepted into the parish maintenance system. I will go ahead and read those. On Quail Hollow subdivision, it's Pearson Drive, Violet Avenue, and Dale Court. On Manchac Harbor subdivision, it's Lake Harbor Lane, Seagull Lane, and Bayside Court. That's it. Those are the ones.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a motion by Councilman Todd Lambert and a second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert to accept these parish roads into the system. I do have one question. Mr. DeOrman, you have a note here, road sign is missing. Has that been taken care of? Thank you. Everything's been done.
All the issues have been
Any
resolved.
objections? No objections. This can move to the full council.
The last item is an item that previously we had a presentation on the item called glass grid fabric to the Transportation Committee, and you asked that I look into that in more detail to see if it was something that we should do. I did find out that we had utilized that material a couple of locations in the past, one of them being as much as 10 years ago. Essentially, this material works. It basically is, you put it down on the existing road and you overlay it with asphalt, and it reduces the cracking of the road as it comes through. We had two locations, one of which is down about 10 years, and the 10-year location shows quite a few cracks in it, but not unreasonable for a 10-year period of time. And the other location is relatively new. A couple of years ago they put it down, and it's in relatively good shape. Now, that being said, I need to speak against the use of the material, and the reason being is that it's a relatively high cost. And so when you compare the cost of the material versus additional asphalt, say instead of putting down the material and some asphalt overlay, you increase your thickness of asphalt, you can increase the thickness of asphalt significantly, as much as I think 3 inches. And so when you add that much asphalt to the pavement, you're really adding significant structural strength to the pavement. And so that, I think, is the recommended way to go. The material is good, and I'm not speaking against the material. I'm just saying that the cost of it is that you can buy additional asphalt. I'm in favor of the additional asphalt because of the structural strength that it adds to the road.
Thank you for the update in the report, Mr. Bob. That sounds good. Sounds like we've investigated it and decided that we have a plan that will work for us.
Yes, ma'am. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Okay, item number 9.
Oh, it's not. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's not the end of my report. We do have the added items, the neighborhood signs. As I told you earlier, when we widened Parker Road, We removed at least 2 neighborhood signs, and these are was fairly elaborate, saying a certain neighborhood, and they were not replaced. And I think that the neighbors felt like that they were going to be replaced, and they weren't. When we did Parker Road, once the construction was completed, it was actually completed at about $100,000 less than we anticipated. So in theory, there is money that was left on the project that was not utilized that maybe could be utilized for the signs.
Councilman Lambert.
Yeah, Mr. Bob, I'd like to look back a little comment on that. We had a road project money, widening project money in the budget, and we didn't have each project, a certain amount for each project. It's one pot of money. So really, we didn't have any. You're saying there was 100,000 less. It might have been 100,000 less than what was projected, but the money would come out of one pot. So it's not that we saved 100,000. That 100,000 is probably going to Joey Severio or Worthy Road, down on the other widening project. So I just want to make that comment on that.
Yes, you're clear on that. We've not allocated money.
It wasn't allocated for a certain amount. It was all in the one pot. Thank you.
Councilman Hillenspeck wants to speak on this particular item.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and members of the Transportation Committee. Mr. Turner was correct. Parker Road, and to me this is a house cleaning issue. Parker Road was widened and reconstructed in 2005. It cost just over $1 million. The 2 subdivision entrance signs for the Oak subdivision were removed by Fieldway Construction Company and never replaced. The residents want their subdivision entrance signs replaced at the intersections of Parker Road and Fontainebleau Drive, and at Parker Road and Rennes, or some subdivision residents say Rennes Drive. I do have for you 4 quotes that I can show you right quick. This is a quote from Acadian Signs. The dollar amount is roughly $13,000. I have another one from DS Sign Company for $16,720. Of course, they're local, which I like doing business locally. We have one from Custom Design at a cost of $15,800. And again, these are for 2 sign locations. And the 4th one is from Sign Express, and their quote is for $11,000. Let me focus that one up a little bit just so you see it a little better. Their quote is for $11,800. So they range in a low of $11,800 to a high of approximately $17,000 plus installation. And I'd like to remind you all that on this particular road project, GSA was the engineering firm, Fieldway was the construction firm, and GSA did return over $100,000 plus in cost savings on this project to the Parish Road Fund. That they did save the parish, that were turned back in. Two subdivision residents helped me put this information together, and that's Miss Angela David and Mr. Schofield Lobel III. And I appreciate them asking. This has been an ongoing issue for a while, and we've asked several times for estimates to replace what was taken down, and I mean to build back what was removed when they widened the road and their original signs were taken. And so I'd just like to ask the committee that the DPW director be allowed to move forward on this issue, and I'm going to hand him the quotes over, and that the committee approve an expenditure maybe not to exceed $20,000 to replace these signs.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions? I'm sorry. Any questions?
Mr. Shakespeare.
Mr. Bob, on the contract on there, there wasn't any provisions made to replace signs that were taken down or objects that were taken down?
This project was completed several years ago,
yes.
So I was not here. However, I have looked at the plans, and the plans clearly say to remove the signs, but it does not say that they're to be replaced.
Okay, when we do other road contractors, can we make sure that we replace signs that we remove? Because I think that's appropriate for us to do on something like that.
One that I'm familiar with is Joe Severio. We have a neighborhood sign on the Joe Severio project, and we made special efforts not to disturb that sign. Okay. So that sign is going to remain in place without us disturbing it.
Great.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I would like to direct Mr. Turner to take this under his advisement and see us fit, to put the sign back. And I'll make that as a motion.
You want him to put the sign back or to give us a report on what it would take?
This is the first time you've seen it, Mr. Bond?
Yes, today was the first time I'm aware of the sign.
I second him reviewing it and bringing it back to the committee.
Okay.
Someone.
As far as the savings of $100,000 on Parker Road, it could be because the road is 6 inches narrower than it's supposed to have been. Okay. That might be why it came in $100,000. 6 inches narrower than what it was designed to be. So far as the sign, we need to run that by legal to see, because if it's not our sign, if it was their sign and they built it on our right-of-way, then can we do it? So you just run that by legal, while you're doing your research and bring it back to us. That's all I got.
Chair, I just have one final comment.
Yes, sir. One final question.
Well, it's not a question, it's a comment. First of all these quotes are like good for 30 days. And so, prices are going up daily out there.
Mr. Hillens,
and the other comment is this: if you'll remember, the road was shifted somewhat, and so there's several issues there. But there was a cost savings over $100,000 on this particular project.
Councilman Hillensbeck, I just would like to say that we just heard about this tonight, and we can't approve Mr. Bob to do any of these projects. It would have to go to the full council.
And it's been before the Transportation Committee in the past, but we finally got hard numbers.
Well, it's going to have to go to be reviewed according to the motion that was made here tonight, and it will be brought back to this committee.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Next month. Cinnamon, you can put that on as an item
we didn't
to review.
Vote,
any objections to this motion? There are no objections. This one does not go to the council. I entertain a motion
You got one more.
You got one more.
One more?
The concrete, which was
I'm
we
sorry.
missed
Yes,
I.
I do have one
yes,
more.
Yes, we did. We missed
Drainage Board shared project.
We sure did. My bad.
At the Drainage Board meeting, there was a motion, East Ascension Drainage Board, there was a motion made, and if you don't mind, it's not very long. Let me read it to you to make sure that we're clear about what was asked. A motion was made by Kent Shakesnyder and seconded by George Valentine to complete the bank stabilization on a portion of Henderson Bayou along LA 932, Joe Severio Road, just south of 933, at an estimated cost of $90,000, with the condition that East Ascension drainage work is allowed additional servitude from the property owner to slope the ditch on the field side to what is required for the placement of the material, and either LADOTD or Ascension Parish Public Works Department participate for half the cost of the flowerette material placement along the roadside portion of this ditch. No objection. Motion carried. I put this on there as a result of the fact that the East Ascension Drainage passed this and basically asked Public Works to participate in this. My only concern, and I certainly understand the position about a roadside ditch, however, both of these roads are state roads. There is no parish road involved in this project at all. So I am concerned that we would participate in a cost of a improvement that does not involve a parish road.
Any questions for Mr. Bob? Mr. Shakespeare?
Well, the only thing about it, we just approved, I think, 5 or 6 turning lanes on state roads. So we're in the business of doing that. I think we've decided that if we're going to get something for the people of the parish, on a lot of occasions, if we wait for the state to do it, we're just not going to get it. And it's pretty much been unacceptable to the people of the parish. And so when these issues get to the point where they're bad enough, we do participate. We would like to ask DODT to participate as much as possible, and if you could come back with a report asking them to participate and find out some hard numbers and see what they're willing to put up with. And I think if we went to our state delegation saying what we're willing to do, we may get some participation for them. And then the parish may be able to cost share with that, and it would reduce the amount of monies that we have to come up with substantially. But I do know that this area of drainage, it affects a tremendous amount of people for a long time, and the only way we're going to solve that problem is to line that ditch. It's been rerouted in the past. They made some mistakes in the past that have caused some problems for a lot of people. And I just think it's time for us to fix it, and we need to move forward with it. And if this is what it takes, then I'd like to see it done, because it is a big problem that hampers a lot of people. So, I mean, I'd like to offer that as a motion for you to investigate and find some hard numbers for us and see what the state is willing to participate in, and give us a report at the next meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to get DPW to get with the state to see what kind of monies that they can help us with, and bring us back a number before we make a decision. And we will, if we can get that information by next meeting, we will address it at that time. Any objection to that motion? There are no objections.
Motion to adjourn.
We entertain a motion to adjourn. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, drive safely.